The Vorthak hunting grounds stretched endlessly across the crimson plains of Kepler 442b, where the twin suns cast long shadows through the crystalline forest. Ambassador Zethra of the Galactic Council stood motionless, her 6 eyes tracking, the small form stumbling through the undergrowth below. The cub was barely past its first molting, its silver fur matted with purple blood, one wing dragging uselessly behind its trembling body. "The law is clear," Counselor Vexon spoke through his translator, the mechanical voice devoid of emotion. "Natural selection must take its course. The weak perish, so the strong may thrive. This is the way of all civilized species." Zethra's mandibles clicked in agreement, though something deep in her thorax felt wrong. The Vorthak cub had been abandoned by its pack after the Sky Predator attack, deemed too injured to survive the migration to the winter territories. Galactic Law 847C was unambiguous. Interference with natural evolutionary processes was strictly forbidden, punishable by exile from the Council. They had come to observe, nothing more. The human delegation stood 50 meters away, their pale faces tense as they watched through their primitive optical devices. Humans were the newest species to petition for council membership, barely 3 cycles removed from their first crude warp drive. Their emotional instability and reckless behavior made them poor candidates for galactic citizenship, though their technology showed promise. Dr. Sarah Chen lowered her binoculars, her hands shaking. The alien creature below couldn't be more than a child, and it was dying, slowly, painfully. The other species present, beings who claimed to represent the height of galactic civilization, simply watched with detached scientific interest. "We have to do something," she whispered to Commander Torres. "You heard the briefing, Chen. One wrong move and humanity loses its chance at council membership. We can't afford to—" Sarah was already moving. She sprinted down the slope, her boots sliding on the crystalline gravel. Behind her, she heard Torres curse and call for the security team to stand down. The alien observers chittered and hissed in what she assumed was alarm. The cub looked up as she approached, its large golden eyes filled with pain and fear. It tried to scramble away, but collapsed, a pitiful keen escaping its throat. Sarah had studied the basic Vorthak anatomy during the flight to Kepler 442b. The wing wasn't just broken, it was shredded, likely infected. Without treatment, the creature would die within hours. "Easy, little one," she murmured, pulling the emergency medical kit from her belt. Her hands moved with practiced efficiency, cleaning the wound and applying biofoam to stop the bleeding. The cub's eyes never left her face. "Human Chen!" Ambassador Zethra's voice boomed across the clearing. "Cease this violation immediately! You are contaminating a natural process." Sarah ignored her, carefully splinting the damaged wing with polymer struts from her repair kit. The cub had stopped struggling, its breathing becoming less labored as the pain medication took effect. Commander Torres appeared at her shoulder. "Sarah, you need to stop. They're talking about declaring humanity a rogue species." "Let them," she said, wrapping the wing in thermal bandages. "Some things are more important than politics." She lifted the cub gently, surprised by how light it was. The creature nuzzled against her chest, making soft purring sounds. For a moment, Sarah forgot about the watching aliens, the violated laws, the consequences that would surely follow. All that mattered was the warm, living being in her arms. The confrontation that followed was swift and brutal. Ambassador Zethra declared the human action a violation of the fundamental laws of non-interference. The Council representatives voted unanimously to suspend humanity's membership application and impose immediate sanctions. But something unexpected happened on the journey back to the orbital station. The cub, whom Sarah had named Echo, began to recover faster than anyone thought possible. More importantly, its pack found them. The adult Vorthak descended from the clouds like silver lightning, their hunting cries echoing across the valley. Sarah's security team raised their weapons, but the aliens didn't attack. Instead, they landed in a circle around the humans, their heads bowed in what could only be described as reverence. The pack leader, a magnificent creature with battle scars crisscross his silver hide, approached Sarah slowly. When he spoke, his words came through the translator in a voice thick with emotion. "The small one lives because of your kindness, warm blood. You have given back what we thought lost forever." His great head turned toward the council observers. "These cold ones speak of law and evolution, but they know nothing of love." What happened next would be debated in council chambers for generations. The Vorac pack leader issued a formal challenge to the Galactic Council, invoking ancient rights that predated the current legal framework. He declared that any species capable of showing compassion to alien young possessed a moral authority that transcended written law. The pack's decision to reclaim Echo after witnessing human kindness sparked similar movements across dozens of worlds. Within 6 cycles, the compassion doctrine had been incorporated into galactic law. Species were no longer evaluated solely on technological advancement and emotional stability, but on their capacity for interspecies empathy and protection of the vulnerable. Humanity was granted full council membership in a unanimous vote. Dr. Sarah Chen, now Director of Interspecies Relations, often reflected on that day while watching Echo play with human children in the gardens of New Geneva Station. The young Vorac had become something of a celebrity, but to Sarah he was simply the catalyst for a more compassionate galaxy. Sometimes the greatest laws were written not with words, but with actions born from the heart. And sometimes breaking the rules was the most human thing you could do.